If you would keep me waiting, I would wait a lifetime. In tricky situations, I will be a lifeline. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, no. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. The world is going wild when they come for you, and the river's running dry when it all falls through. Don't you worry about a thing, baby, I got you. Yeah, baby, I got you.
I just had a bit. Is it September the 12th?
13, sir.
Oh God, I'm the wrong date. 13?
Yes, sir.
You saw 12:30.
Wait a minute, the 12th. There's something 10. Oh God, I hate this.
No, look, it's going everywhere. Hang on. So nobody got it wrong.
Where is the man?
No, look, it's everywhere.
Can't bear this bloody thing. What do they do? Everyone's stinking.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's podcast. Please do hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. And thank you to the 36,000 of you that have subscribed so far. We hit 36,000 subscribers yesterday. Thank you all. I am so grateful that you are here. Much appreciated. Just wow, I cannot believe how much this space has grown. Not just my space actually, but I think the whole Sussex Squad royal space and the way in which we have become such a force in this larger conversation about the royals and the narratives that are painted about the royals and, of course, about Harry and Meghan and how we are influencing and shifting that conversation. We are effectively a report. I consider myself a royal reporter. Why not? If the carnival so-called experts with their lies and nonsense can call themselves journalists and reporters, why can't I? Because there's nothing but the facts over here, honey. Nothing but the facts. But thank you once again. Appreciate you all so much. Can I also say thank you to Dorothy Ross for the PayPal that you sent yesterday? I did see that. Thank you so much to Sarah Turner. Hope you have a nice day and evening as well. And thank you for the super sticker. Right, let's get into it, shall we? Quite a few things to get into today. No sign of the Sussex Christmas card yet. I've seen some interesting predictions. Some people think that we may see that picture of Lily with the Queen. Now, I remember at the time when Harry and Meghan went and took the kids with them. I remember at the time there were all of these articles that came out, like strange articles. Oh well, yeah, they got to see the Queen, but one of the conditions was that they couldn't take a picture of Lilibet with Big Lilibet. First and foremost, what an utterly cruel thing to say or suggest. And I think it just shows how these people in the press and how these courtiers think. The idea that a picture of little Lilibet and big Lilibet would be so like that is just so disgusting to them. At the end of the day, that is the Queen's granddaughter. And everything that I have seen suggested that the Queen, in her own way, in her own weird royal way, did love her grandchildren. So if that is the case, I'm hoping that we do see that picture. I mean, that would definitely send some people incandescent with rage. And I don't believe for a second that they would, Harry and Meghan would allow such a ridiculous condition. Oh, you can take a picture of the Queen, but no one can ever see the picture of Big Lilibet and Little Lilibet. Just how ridiculous. But that's a prediction that some people are making. And I'm still sticking with my prediction that we'll see it on that Meghan Instagram page. But whatever they decide, maybe they'll just go for another corporate message like they did like this last year. Some other great news. Tell us something we didn't know. Duke of Sussex's memoir Spare was the best-selling book of 2023 in the UK, according to Amazon. Well, everybody and their grandmother knew this. But remember when the Daily Fail, with a whole 1.6 thousand comments on this article, because that is how obsessed some people in the UK who claim to not care about Harry and Meghan are, 1.6 thousand comments on this article, saying that more than 2/3 of the British public say they have no interest in reading Prince Harry's tell-all Megxit memoir, and 38% think the book is very inappropriate, survey reveals. Well, regardless of your stupid survey, it was still the biggest selling book of 2023. And of course, it was always going to be. There was no dimension in which a book by Diana's son, the Diana's son, was not going to sell well. Harry did better than books about air fryers and cooking. I mean, come on. They really tried to tell us that this book was going to fail? I haven't seen any updated figures for the US or anywhere else, but it's got to be like I would say probably in a lot of places it definitely hit top 10, even the translations. And I've been to 4 or 5 different countries this year, going through airports. I always see Harry's book, including the foreign versions. Okay, so let's have a look now at Princess Anne, the so-called hardest working royal, who did 475 engagements and nobody can tell us what she did. Thank you to the squaddy that sent me this article and also another one that I'm going to read regarding Anne's appearances in Canada. And this is probably one of the reasons why, other than the fact that, let's be honest, ain't no one really interested. We barely hear about what it is that Anne and her her 400 and and 57 appearances while we don't know what she's been doing. So, with very little press coverage at home in the UK and not a single social media post from the royal family Instagram account, the Princess Royal jetted off to New Brunswick to commemorate the 175th anniversary of the Canadian Hussars, Princess Louise's, a regiment of the Canadian Armed Forces, of which she is Colonel in Chief. That must be why she likes dressing up in I'm about to fight Napoleon cosplay. Visiting Montcaton and Sussex, Princess Anne 72 took part in a commemorative concert, a parade, a gala dinner, which she was bestowed with a special military recognition. Somebody that's never been on the front, by the way. And I found this interesting. This wasn't even posted on the royal family Instagram account. It wasn't even posted on the. So what is the point of us spending all this money? We don't even see what they're doing. By the way, both the British taxpayer and the Canadian taxpayer had to pay for this nonsense. I mean, a whole parade, a gala, and a dinner. Did you see any pictures? All to the tune of $131,000. So let's read this out. This is an article from CTV News. 14,000 for photos, adding up the bills for a princess's 2 short visits to Canada. 2 short trips to Canada by Princess Anne this year cost taxpayers at least $131,000, CTV News has learned. The King's only sister visited the country for 3 days in May to celebrate the 175th anniversary of the New Brunswick Military Regiment, and then again in early June to attend a weekend conference in Banff, Alta. Had no idea about any of that. More than 60% of the bill for the brief trips, or $80,000, came from costs linked to the Royal Canadian Mounted Police security, such as $52,000 in overtime and $26,000 in travel. In New Brunswick, the Canadian military spent $26,000, including $14,000 for Air Force transportation within Canada and $12,000 for costs associated with parade attendance. The New Brunswick government's $24,000 bill featured $13,000 for photographic services and $2,000 for a driver. The costs also include fuel, meals, hotel amenities, tech supplies, shipping, and more. The costs seem low. They're consistent with her previous trips to Canada. Katie Brock, a professor in the School of Public Policy at Queen's University, told CTV News. The costs are going to be the RCMP costs are going to be the largest share, and that's because really Canada does not want to have something happen to a royal when the royal is visiting their country. So I'm assuming that's the security costs. The total in bills uncovered by CTV News does not include normal operational costs such as government, military, and police salaries, or the cost to the UK taxpayer. So we don't know how much it costs the UK taxpayer. Cost data was provided directly to CTV News by the RCMP and Department of National Defence. While New Brunswick figures were obtained through a Freedom of Information request, other costs could still be processed. It's hard to believe our government couldn't figure out a way to do this for less than 6 figures, Canadian Taxpayer Federation Director Franco Terrazzano told CTV News. We're not saying someone's uncle should be taking photos with his iPhone, but surely photos shouldn't be costing taxpayers almost $14,000. Indeed, governments need to do more to earn taxpayers' trust on these trips. The 2 journeys were considered working trips and not official visits to Canada, like King Charles' ceremony-filled 3-day royal tour in May 2022, which cost at least $1.4 million. Sorry, dollars. $1.4 million, according to previous CTV News investigations. And nobody can tell me why these trips serve any purpose other than to fuel these people's egos. What purpose does it serve to the average person on the streets to have these state visits? Because unless you're giving me important trade deals, unless you're giving me policies that actually affect people's lives on a day-to-day basis, you need to start doing this shit over Zoom. Stop spending all this money just so we can have parades and you can take your fancy photos and feel very important. And this is why I've always made it a point to never really show up for these things. You know, people like to line the streets and wave, and no, absolutely not. Because at the end of the day, these are public officials. They should be working for us. That is your job. You work for me. Instead of me working to generate taxpayer pounds and dollars to serve you. So you can have a nice little parade, wear your medals, and walk amongst the crowds and wave. No, this is 2023 going into 2024. No more pomp and pageantry. Impact only. That is the rule now. Right. So the article goes on a little bit more, and it talks about Princess Anne is involved in 300 military regiment organizations and charities worldwide, including at least 17 in Canada. And what does she do for them? And when has she ever been to the battlefront? Reminder, Prince Harry's been there twice. I'll go to your comments and then we'll continue. If you're just coming into the chat, please do hit that thumbs up button, please. Let the algorithm know that we are here. Yeah, Benjamin, ain't nobody checking for Anne. They had a feature on Jeremy Kyle, and I think okay, actually there is one whole person checking for Anne in the United Kingdom who called in Jeremy Kyle to say that they liked Anne because she was the hardest working royal. You know how they put out these narratives and they just repeat them over and over and over again until they become the truth, and even though they're a lie. And then when you actually sit down and question these royalists, okay, explain to me what that means. They've got nothing to say. They're just regurgitating what they heard in the press. Yeah, see, when does she come to Canada? I'd like to know. Oh, we just found out. Once in May, once in June, apparently. Lady T, Annalie's out the back door. No witnesses. No, she comes through the front door and leaves through the front door. There's just no one there. And let's just be honest, the British tabloids are not interested in reporting this because the British public aren't interested. But let Harry or Meghan, fart, and it's front page news. Libby, you said they need to pay for their own trips. They need to just not take trips at all. Because who is this helping and how? I don't know how much Camilla and Charles's was it 2 or 3 day Kenya trip cost? But if the Canada trip cost like $1.4 million, the Kenyan trip must have cost that or probably more. Yes, Carter. That is the rule of the game now. Impact or nothing. You've got Harry and Meghan engaging with lawmakers to stop unconscious bias in the adultification of Black women and girls in the legal system in the US, rolling out entire programs. So if you're just going to show up in your colonizer cosplay, rolling around in Jeeps, you better just stay at home. Because we're rolling with the big dogs now. It's impact or nothing. Lorna, you said, when Anne was in New Brunswick, the weather was miserable. It was raining and cold. Good. I hope it was. And thank you for the super chat. Okay, on to the next thing. Yes, here are some people creating impact. The People magazine actually did a whole feature on the wellness project that Archewell is doing with the women refugees from Afghanistan in the US. And just a reminder, and don't let anybody let you forget this, all of the work that Harry and Meghan are doing is privately funded by them and their donors. It is not taxpayer funded. And I think that's very, very important. Of course, we are critical thinkers here, and we're not just here to, praise heap on everyone. Of course, any charity work that is done by celebrities, it's out of, it's out of kindness, and that's great. But of course, we know that ultimately the root causes of these problems lie in corruption, in dealing with corruption, and also policy making. And we always acknowledge that. It's good that people do give back, but we know that if we're going to fix these issues in society, it's never going to come from celebrity donations. But I think it's important for us to remember that any work that Harry and Meghan do is privately funded by them. It is not taxpayer funded, and that's why I made the cover the way I did today. Taxpayer funded charity PR versus privately funded charity work. Big difference. You cannot call charity work if it is being funded by the sovereign grants, which under the Constitution of the United Kingdom, because we are a constitutional monarchy, that money is given by from the taxpayers to the royals. It's not like that money is even given voluntarily. And that money was being given voluntarily. I don't think it would equal £100 million with a 45% pay increase that the sovereign grant is going to get coming very soon. Now, because some people can't stay out of Harry and Meghan's pockets, there have been all of these articles in the British press saying that Archewell is they're not making a lot of money, that they haven't got the amount of donations that they got in their first 2 years. Well, that is quite typical of charities. We've seen Harry and Meghan literally meeting with very, very wealthy donors. There was that one picture of Harry. I think he was leaving a lunch or a dinner in Montecito with some very well-known philanthropists in the US. Hang on a sec, folks. Let me just plug in my internet cable so we don't have dodgy internet. So they're not struggling for money. It's just pretty typical that you have all the excitement and all the buzz at the very beginning. And if they've gotten as TMZ, how embarrassed must you be if TMZ are being more truthful than you are? That's how bad the British press is. Now, if they have received these huge donations at the very beginning, that money, it's not like that's just going to sit there. They can put some of that money in stocks, in bonds, in places where that money will grow itself. So they don't necessarily have to rely on donations every single year. This is how these big organizations work. The British tabloids are being very obtuse and lying by acting as if that's not how it works. So TMZ has said, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry's charity was said to have been in the red this year, but there's missing context, including the fact that it's got big time cash stashed away. Exactly. Sources with direct knowledge tell TMZ. There are no sources with direct knowledge. They just looked at the balances, which you can see on the screen. Please don't believe that these people have sources and direct knowledge and all this nonsense. There are no leaks in Montecito, even for TMZ. A recent report suggesting the Archewell Foundation was strapped for cash after suffering a substantial decrease in revenue between 2021 and 2022 is misleading because it doesn't take into account that the org is not a corporation, folks. In other words, these sorts of things can't simply be measured in mere profit and loss. As our sources say, the Archewell Foundation is still humming like it was when it first launched back in 2020 and actually ended the year with more than 8 million in the bank. What the report harped on is the fact that the org's most recent tax filing shows donations were down between 2021 and 2022, going from 13 million in 2021 to about 2 million in 2022. And that is still a lot. That is still a lot. Mind you, in 1 year, the Sussex squad can easily raise anywhere between 200k to plus, maybe even more than that in 1 year. Like, that's a lot of money. The foundation also notes it technically came in at a loss, at about over 600k, since its costs were somewhat outpaced by its revenue this past year. But like we said, context. We're told it's not uncommon for donations to decrease after a charitable org's debut year, and oftentimes the first year is often the strongest. Exactly. But that money can, with the right investment advice, it can easily multiply by itself. And they may never even need to have donations ever again if that money is handled properly. And, 13 million, that is a hell of a lot of money. If you invest that properly, that can double in less than a year. The Archewell Foundation smartly, but of course, you wouldn't know that if you're a British tabloid reader and you're taught to accept the bare minimum and porridge, right? You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't know these things. These things would be too Hollywood for you to know. The Archewell Foundation smartly stored that huge influx of cash they got between 2020 and 2021 and are now divvying up the dough based on long-term goals. So yes, donations are down, but Archewell Foundation is not out of the charity game. There was also a claim in the report in question that Archewell CEO James Holt had received a fat pay rise between 2021 and 2022, jumping up in salary from 59k to about 227k. Well, we know who's not going to be selling stories to the Sun newspaper, right? We're told that 2021 figure was just a partial year of Holt's pay. However, the source was not specific about Holt's full annual salary. Well, Archewell is fine and dandy. Well, I mean, it's not that salary is anyone's business, but anyway, while Archewell is fine and dandy in the charitable world, it does seem to be under the gun to come up with new ways to generate donations and revenue. We'll see what they got. Are you serious? They were literally at the Beyonce concert sitting next to Jeff Bezos. They're under the gun to come up with new ways to generate donations and revenue. Are you for real? They were literally sitting next to Jeff Bezos at the Beyonce concert. Jesus. Okay, let's go through your comments and then we'll get on to the next thing. Adrian, you said they are all over the place, so people would think that they are working hard. This is probably remixes from last year or the backyards. Exactly. They go out of their way to be seen, so it looks like they're working, but they're not. I mean, I wish somebody would pay me to show up wearing Mary Poppins cosplay and wave. Great work if you can get it. Okay, we have a troll. Goodbye, troll. Hey, gal, no, you are not late at all. You are never late. Elibi, yeah, why do they care about the Sussex's money? The Sussex's non-British taxpayer money. Why do they care about it? Now, what they need to be caring about is where that British taxpayer money to fund the royals is going. Okay. Okay. Now let's get on to the other royals. So anti-poverty campaigners raised concerns over royal visits to baby banks. This was in The Guardian yesterday. This was posted in The Guardian. There was a clip. I'm not going to play it now because I don't know with copyright Sky News. But I will post it as a separate video where they have the royal children at this bank, this baby bank, helping out, sorting out things. Now, that's not a bad thing to, bring your kids to help the less fortunate. But these are obviously some very unique kids. These are kids who get golden rocking chairs when they're babies. And if you watch the video, I will post it both on Instagram and on my YouTube later. It is just so unbelievably tone deaf and cringe. You can't even believe it. I mean, I saw people talking about it. I was like, oh, I'm not going to watch this. And then I did actually watch it and I was like, oh my God. there's one point where um Kate is like, "Oh, so what we have to do is we have to sort out the donations into the boxes." Like this is something that is so foreign to her. And then she then says, um, actually I don't know if it's her or one of the people in the background who says to the kids, I want you to pick toys or items um for kids your age. So stuff that you would like, that you would think kids your age would also like. I find it astonishing and disturbing the way in which they are setting up these children to fail and to just be hounded by a British public who, by the time they're grown up, mind you, are going to be so bloodthirsty. And it is true that we should not be normalizing the idea of we now have baby banks, food banks, warm banks in the United Kingdom. Yes, sir. Can I have another bowl of porridge, sir? That's what we're going back to. And Kate, a couple of weeks ago, was quoted as saying, "Yeah, this is great. We should have more of this. Baby banks, important for the British public." No, what we need, dear, is policy making. What we need is for you to go and talk to your Tory friends. And while you're at it, you can tell Labour to grow a backbone as well, because that's why we have issues in our country. With all the best intentions, no amount of fundraising and baby banks and this, that, and the third is going to sort out the root causes of these issues. And you, the royal family, at the top of the totem pole of the British class system, should be part of solving those issues. Instead, they just take from the British taxpayer and enjoy the privileges that come with that. And any so-called charity work that they do, well, that comes from the British taxpayers' purse anyway. Thank you so much, Legs. You said raise concerns. Okay, should be up for this. Yeah, she's the she's the expert on babies' brains. Didn't you know? She asked 5 big questions about childhood development, and she is now the expert on baby brains. Okay, so let's read this. Anti-poverty campaigners have raised concerns about visits by the Princess of Wales to baby banks, warning they risk normalizing the idea that charity is the answer to poverty. Of course, it is not. Footage released by Kensington Palace earlier this week showed Kate taking her 3 children to a baby bank in Holyport, Berkshire, where they help volunteers sort out Christmas presents. Last month, she visited Sebi's Corner in Barnet, North London, one of the growing number of baby banks being set up across the country to provide free nappies, clothes, formula, and milk to families in need. Reminder, on the topic of policy making, reminder that Meghan reached out to members of Congress in order to lobby for more maternity leave for parents. That's still ongoing. Sabine Goodwin, director of the Independent Food Aid Network, said there's a line between soliciting donations with a positive spin and normalizing a charitable response to poverty. The Princess of Wales' heart is undoubtedly in the right place, but we can't afford to see royal patronage through rose-tinted glasses. We need to be collectively shouting from the rooftops that baby banks, like warm banks, fuel banks. Oh, I didn't know. Oh, we've got fuel banks? Really? Wow. I've been out of the United Kingdom so long, we even managed to get fuel banks in there. Didn't know this was happening. Food banks, these shouldn't be needed. If we are to put the baby bank genie back in the bottle, combining calls for systematic change with much needed efforts to fill the gaps is critical. Amen. Graham Whittam, Chief Executive of Greater Manchester Poverty Action, agreed, saying, "It is vital we don't further normalise charitable responses to poverty." He added that Kate's visit had raised the profile of the challenges facing many low-income families. I can tell you that we were more than aware that these charities existed before. It must also be a wake-up call for national and local decision makers as to the need for responses to poverty that address the root causes. Ams Taylor, chair of Greater Manchester Money Advice Group, responding to the royal visit, posted on social media, "Thank goodness that there were cameras that we might know of such good deeds. We are a rich country. There should be no baby banks, no food banks, no warm spaces. People should have enough to get by, and the safety net should keep people safe." Kensington Palace declined to comment. Of course they did. So they go on to talk about Archewell, the Archewell Foundation. The roundup of the Sussex this year was embedded on the Archewell website as part of the charity's impact report and was released shortly after Kensington Palace issued footage on Monday of Kate helping out at the baby bank with George, Charlotte, and Louis. I don't like the way that the Guardian have framed that as if somehow, Archewell released that report right after, Kensington Palace's footage came out, like that was done on purpose. Like Archewell and Harry and Meghan aren't bothered about what the other royals are doing. And I also don't like the fact, because they go on a little bit more about Archewell's revenue, that they don't mention the fact that Harry and Meghan's charity work is privately funded. It's not taxpayer funded. In fact, nowhere in this article do they mention that the other royals' charitable work is taxpayer funded. Anyway, that is that. And it is great to see anti-poverty campaigners just reiterating that with all the best will in the world, charity is not the answer to our big problems. It's not. Right, we'll get to comments and then we will keep it moving. Dominique said, "I bet they didn't even bring anything to the baby bank. What kind of example is the setting for their daughter?" I think they literally had like 2 or 3 boxes in the back of the car. That's what I saw in the clip. Oh, is Rahini here? Hey, Rahini. Oh, thank you so much, Legs. Rahini says, "We need to remember Meghan didn't visit the baby bank. She donated 15K to start the baby bank." Exactly. She didn't just visit the baby bank. She started it and kitted it out and decked it out with her own money, not taxpayer money. Leslie, I didn't see any volunteers in the video. Oh, they were there. It's just the cameras were mostly panned on Kate and the kids, but they were there. Hey, S. Thank you so much for being here. Indeed, I am now a proud royal reporter. Okay, next thing. This. So I didn't actually know too much about all of this when it first happened. So interesting to read about it now. So Duchess Meghan really was offered the Queen's black equerry as a possible mentor. And I have no idea what a query is. It query? I have no idea what that is, but let's have a read because this is interesting. So, this is from Kaiser from Celeb Bitchy. Back in 2021, the Windsors were completely panicked about the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's Oprah interview, and they authorized one of the most ridiculous and clownish campaigns of character assassination I have ever seen. No lies told there. One of the pieces was this one in the Times London, in which palace sources insisted that Meghan had all of the help she needed. Except that half of the staff threatened to quit as soon as Harry became engaged to a biracial woman. And Meghan, and they also claimed that Meghan wanted a Beyonce way of royal stardom. Beyonce, who is way more relevant than the entire royal institution. But anyway, inside that piece was also this telling detail. Palace staffers assigned the Queen's black query, Lieutenant Colonel Nana Kofi Ankara, to mentor Meghan. Literally, they got the one black guy to mentor Meghan, all while they sabotaged her. Well, Omid Scobie's Endgame, which, by the way, I still haven't finished listening to the audiobook, I will eventually, repeated the story with a new wrinkle that Meghan and her friends were like, WTF, when the lieutenant was assigned to mentor her. Now the Sun is repeating the story and putting a royalist spin on it. Writer Omid Scobie has placed Queen Elizabeth in the Rism row. He suggested Meghan was insulted at Palisades, assigning her Majesty's Black Query to make her feel comfortable. In his book Endgame, Scobie claims the suggested appointment of the Ghana-born Lieutenant Colonel stood out like a sore thumb. An early Dutch version of the book sparked outrage after it named Charles and Kate as the two royals accused of having concerns about the skin colour of Harry and Meghan's son. In the UK edition, Scobie discusses the late Queen's query. He writes, when Palace aides told reporters, including myself, they bent over backwards to make Meghan feel comfortable at Buckingham Palace, this included a follow-up suggestion perhaps that the Queen's Ghanaian-born household cavalry officer should be the one to help Meghan. Though a charming and intelligent man, it stood out like a sore thumb to Meghan and her friends. The royal expert Ingrid Stewart told The Sun on Sunday if Scobie's account is correct, she was offered Lady Susan Hussey and turned her down. Then she offered the Ghanaian-born query to the Queen. I don't know who she thought should be helping her, but presumably not a query or a lady in waiting. Scobie did claim that Meghan and Harry turned down Lady Susan Hussey's mentorship too, which I'm not actually sure I believe. Think about how Meghan was likely so eager to please in the first few months. If the Queen offered Baroness Hussey, the Queen's most favoured lady-in-waiting, as a mentor, I would assume that Meghan probably did meet with Hussey. Now it still feels like the Hussey thing was a setup. Hussey later badmouthed Harry and Meghan and said, on the record, that the marriage would end in tears. See, this is why Harry and Meghan are better people than me. Because do you remember in the interview in the ITV interview, when Harry was promoting Sarah, and he was asked about Hussey, he was like, oh, we both love Lady Hussey. We love her. As for Lieutenant Colonel Nana Coffey, it's still insulting, and it's still crazy that these people don't realize that it's insulting. Yeah. And with that, I will end the podcast. Thank you so much, everyone, as always, for listening. You are awesome. Here is a Scottish newspaper, also realizing that Catherine does nothing but copy Kate. Catherine does nothing but copy Meghan. This is in the Herald. This is a Scottish paper. And I will end with your comments and call it a day. Angela, they were most likely gifts that taxpayer gave to them. Exactly. And now they're giving them away back to the taxpayer. Carmen, you're saying, I don't understand Kate. She acts like she was born into great wealth to some grand noble family. Both her parents worked. Why is she acting like she doesn't know how to pack a box or what poverty is? I think there are some people who, how do I explain this? Like Kate and her whole family, they wanted so badly to be part of this Aristo set. And so I think for them, they have spent their whole lives actually running away from the idea that they were ever working class. And that's why she acts like she doesn't know how to pack a box. That's why she can't seem to be able to flip a pancake. Mina, you just got done reading that chapter of the book. By the way, if you're listening to the audio, put the speed up. That's a really good way of getting through things faster. Hi, Queen Bee. Thank you so much for catching up on replay. All right, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much, folks. Bit of a different time, but I think for those of you in the US, this might even be a better time than when I used to have the podcast. And like I said, I actually want to do it a lot earlier. I'm just getting into the routine of doing a podcast in the morning, but I have to say, for my mental health, for my sleep, this is really, really helping me. So thank you for putting up with a new change in time. All right, enjoy the rest of your day, folks. See you tomorrow. Ciao.
If you would keep me waiting, I would wait a lifetime. In tricky situations, I will be a lifeline. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, I know. Keep coming back for you time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. Ocean in between us, still I feel your heartbeat. There's something about you, baby, that makes me feel complete. Nobody's meant to be fighting alone. That's why I'm taking you home. I never felt something like this before, I know. Keep coming back for your time after time. Maybe I'm losing my mind, but I know I'll never leave you behind, no. Baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. When you feel like falling, I'll be there to prove, yeah, that baby, I got you. No matter the distance, no matter the route, yeah, baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. I got you. Baby, I got you. I got you. I got you. The world is going wild when they call for you, and the river's running dry when it all falls through. Don't you worry about a thing, baby, I got you. Yeah, baby, I got you.
Hello, my royal diamonds. Thank you so much for tuning into the Duchess of Success podcast. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment on the video to help the algorithm find us. It is my pleasure to bring you all of the royal tea, honey. And if you would like to donate to the channel, please check out the links in the description box. All of your donations help to keep the channel running. Thank you for your support, and remember, you don't need a crown to be royal. We are all queens.